Now, Right2Know will be opposing an application by United Civil Society in action related to the National Lottery Commission. UCASA wants the court to stop the commission from releasing its list of beneficiaries. It follows a series of reports by Ground Up alleging fraud and corruption at the NLC. Right2Know says UCSA is a dubious organization that is involved in corruption. Ghalib Galant from Right2Know joins me now via Skype. Very good morning to you, Ghalib. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, you're supporting the Ground Up, who will be in court a little bit later on today. Why?
Because we think that this is a really important case for freedom of expression, and particularly for journalists to be given the freedom to do their job, and particularly investigative journalists. The past couple of years we've been I was going to say entertained, but really we've been shocked and horrified by the extent of state capture. And this story revolves really around the capturing of the National Lotteries Commission, with millions of rands that should be earmarked for development projects being siphoned off and channeled to friends, relatives, cronies of decision makers at the National Lotteries Commission. And so it's an important case in terms of yet another case of grand corruption.
Talk to us about some of the money. You say corruption. Talk to us about some of the monies that are involved here.
So we've had, so Ground Up has been reporting over the past at least 2 years about a number of things. So we've seen how care homes for the elderly was denied lottery funding. There were, the big problem you were talking about schools earlier has been toilets still with pit latrines, and so money that was earmarked to build toilets for schools also was channeled elsewhere. We've had down here in Cape Town, the supposed Minstrel Museum received apparently 13 million rand of lottery money years ago, but the museum still hasn't been built. So the other aspect of why this is such an important case is that Ground Up is also being taken to court, not by the National Lotteries Commission. They've been doing a lot of other lawfare, raising issues with the press ombud and then dropping them, and some other court cases that have gone nowhere. But in this case, we have an ostensibly civil society structure that is now tackling another important aspect of civil society, Ground Up, a media house, to ask them to take down these articles. And we're concerned about that because one of the members of this United Civil Society in Action is an organization that has a lot of respect in civil society circles, Sangoko. But one has to ask the question, why? Why would you want to hide the identities of beneficiaries of development funds if for the past several years the National Lotteries Commission has been publicizing those anyway? So what is going on here is the big question.
Okay, so the Department of Trade and Industry and Competition, the DTIC, is investigating the NLC. Are you behind that as well? Absolutely.
I mean, we're just wondering why it's taken so long. These articles have been coming out over the past 2 years, and now that this court case is happening, now the department wants to step into action. We applaud the action, absolutely. It's one of the things that journalists do is to highlight malfeasance or alleged malfeasance. The authorities who are vested with the responsibility for oversight, etc., then need to step in. So we welcome those actions. That's going to be against the NLC. this court case obviously is being brought by someone else outside of the NLC. And this is something that's called in parlance astroturfing. You would have heard of something called a slap suit, which is where those with deep pockets throw litigation at you in order to shut you up. Astroturfing is where you do that through a third party.
Yep. All right. Thank you so much for speaking with us, Mr. Ghalib Galant from Right2Know.